Hey everybody, it's David Eisner from the Crypto Edge. It is Tuesday, June 18th, uh, end of the day here. And I wanted to do a quick update on some of the things that I look at uh, for the Bitcoin market and the altcoin market. And I promised you guys an altcoin update. So that's what I'm going to be focused on here and kind of what I'm seeing. One of the first things that I look at is uh, just this, well, obviously BTC, right? So let's actually just start there for right now. And uh, you can see that we're just in a fucking crazy rip roaring bull market right now. There's just no other way to slice it. If you look at the bullish bias, I mean, in terms of the weekly, this is incredibly bullish. If we drop down to, or go up to the monthly, you can see that the bias never really even changed on the monthly. We kind of pinched here, almost crossed, didn't actually cross on the monthly. So I've been saying that I wouldn't really be surprised if we just went up there and challenge those new highs before we came back down to challenge these lows again. I mean, that would be absolutely insane. But if any market is going to be that volatile, it's Bitcoin, right? So let's hope the connection on my keyboard comes back. Not great. Anyway, I'll just use my laptop. So going back down to the weekly, we can see we're still very clearly in this bullish mode. And then on the daily, we've been making, new recent highs here. So Bitcoin is just in a bull mode. I don't really see anything that is showing that we are breaking down here quite yet. Like, just as far as today goes, there's really nothing here. We have to wait. This kind of looked like it was going to possibly be a breakdown, but here I've got a fib drawn right here. If we look at it over here, it never even got down to 38.2. So I was like, okay, we came down here, hit off a critical resistance level, and then just kind of went sideways. And it was like, all right, well, if this market wants to put in a lower low and show us that it's a bear, that's great. But it didn't do that. It just took off to new recent highs. So right now we have to redraw the fib and just wait for some market structure to come in and for some bearishness. And we might be getting something happening over here on the MACD, losing some momentum in terms of creating a higher high with we're back to connected again, and creating, we did have this divergence that came in, and that did kind of forecast this short that I took on this kind of slam down. As you can see, we had the divergence. I'm kind of like, where are my tools? Drawing panel. I've never been on without my drawing panel before. Okay, trend line. You can see that it's down here, and so all right, I'm gonna take that short, and there we did have that. And of course we had the divergence from here to here, right? So price going up, momentum going down. All right, take the short, right? But when we got down here, it started to waffle. You could see we kind of put in a little W on the MACD over here, and it just decided, well, I'm gonna go and head up from there. And so now we have to see whether or not this divergence is going to play out over time. So we are making higher highs, and if this rolls over and goes negative again, well, we might lose momentum here, but it's just too early to tell. And with this massive rally, altcoins have really been suffering in terms of BTC, but that only makes sense, right? You can't really get a lot of altcoins popping when BTC, versus BTC when you're doing this. However, we can see here in the total market cap, now, to kind of talk about altcoins a little bit more, now that we've kind of established, what the trend is in Bitcoin. The total market cap, this is total market cap excluding Bitcoin. It's, if altcoins weren't doing anything, then we would have seen something like this. But we didn't see that. Money is flowing into altcoins the same that it's flowing into Bitcoin. So if you were making trades in US dollar and altcoins, you may not have done as well as Bitcoin has done. I think Bitcoin has kind of tripled from this bottom, where it seems as though this has maybe a little bit more than doubled. You've done okay, just not as well as Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been kind of going crazy, right? In the greater scheme of things, we have to again go down to the monthly, and on this chart, whoops, I always forget to do that. Gotta go back to the pointer to move this up. I'm gonna get to these lines in a second, but just to look at the price chart real quick, we can see that this is still in the monthly. It did cross over for for altcoins. We're in the red here on this. I believe this is the institutional. Whoops. That's a different bias. If we do institutional bias, we did cross over, but it looks as though it's looking to cross over again. So far in June, we're kind of putting in a doji right now. Market wants to decide where it wants to go in terms of altcoins in USD. And, we could definitely potentially roll over here. So we're going to have to see how that closes on the monthly. But as far as the weekly is concerned, we definitely have, bullish bias there. And then just to go back to my, it says over here, Brian bias, which is my teacher Brian Beamish. He uses the 13 EMA and the 30 SMA, and you can see we're definitely bullish there as well. So if you're in altcoins in terms of USD, we still haven't changed that trend at all. What's really important in terms of alts is this Bitcoin dominance, and this has just been going sideways for a while now. If we go to the monthly, you can see Bitcoin has been really strong in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of dominance versus the alts. And so far, there's no real sign of breakdown here. And this blue line here is Bittrex main alts, and the red line is like Bittrex kind of shit coins, the smaller cap ones, and those just look bearish right now as well. It did look like it was trying to put in a bottom here on the blue line in terms of the monthly, and just kind of broke down as Bitcoin rallied. If Bitcoin breaks down, these lines can turn around. But I'd like to see a W kind of form, at least on the weekly. And you can see that the red is trying to put in a bottom here. The blue might be trying to put in a bottom. We've kind of going sideways. Whereas before you could see it was just kind of off a cliff. Then it was kind of going sideways. The red for a while back here in February looked like we were going to get a rally here and kind of turn back up from there. and the market said no as Bitcoin decided to face rip. And so shitcoins, whatever you want to call them, crap coins, small caps, they just are not having their day right now. But we are trying to put in a bottom here. If it'll be interesting to see if they can rally, if Bitcoin shits the bed, if Bitcoin kind of retraces back down to, this 19 SMA line, which currently right now is 5,900. This is my Bitcoin magic line. If we can retrace back there and not completely crap out, maybe go sideways a little bit, I think that would be probably good in terms of alts and whether or not they can turn the corner and make a rally versus Bitcoin. I'm not, God, they just decided to go lower here, even though I definitely pick some up in this range. And, I got to step in and take more bites down here, because I still think that the altcoin market in terms of BTC is going to have its day. It might be another year, could be another 2 years. That's typically what's happened in the past, is that we're going to have these kinds of insane rallies. So I like to step in at certain points where it looks like the market might be putting in a W bottom. And if it doesn't, okay, well, I'm just going to do it again. Because, trying to forecast it and saying it's a bottom, well, it kind of looks like it. But is it? Like, we're just going to have to wait and see. And sometimes the trade isn't correct. So I have to force myself to come in and buy these bottoms. And if you look at the blue line, which is the major alts, which is kind of what I've been buying more of, it's kind of been hanging in there more than the total shitcoins. So, which I'm a little less interested in at these points. I think that people might be a little bit more interested in quality these days, but it's typically these red coins that get you a better return over time. Or I would say a better, like, if you pick them correctly, they can give you a much bigger return than the bigger ones. Or, just in general, spreading your risk out 1%, 2% in each one of these altcoins. Pretty good risk strategy, because you don't know which ones are going to take off. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at here. This was a V top. If we can M out over here, and up, down, up, and kind of break down, then I'll be looking for Bitcoin to come down in dominance and for my altcoins to perform. That's kind of what I've been waiting on, but we probably still have another few weeks before that's going to even materialize. If we look at the daily, let's see if we can see anything here. Well, you can see we still don't really have a new trend here, because we didn't break down. You can see here's the low, and we didn't reach it. We really need to kind of break down and come down below in order to establish a new trend. As of right now, we are still in an uptrend in terms of Bitcoin dominance. But going over to some other sources that I like to look at, like this crypto fear and greed index, I'm pretty sure that this is just Bitcoin. I'm not 100% sure if it's like, it's the other Bitcoin and other large cryptocurrencies. This is in terms of US dollars. So we've gone up a lot. Last week was 60. This week is 84. Last week was 69. Last month was 69. So we're getting up pretty high here. And we're coming up on that 10,000 level, which has got some massive resistance. So, just psychologically and in terms of where old highs were. So this is something to look out for. And then in terms of alts, on our Turtle PC chart, if you like to follow this, We did have this uptrend made for a decent rally, but we really need to get above this 50% mark and just completely crapped out again. So we just have to wait for this to W again. And, so in terms of BTC, I think we might have some sideways action to go before we actually break down and this turns back up. In terms of US dollars, we did put in a little W here, and potentially, could be heading up, but this is just a very strange chart. Hard to really make anything out of this right now. It seems to be in an uptrend in terms of US dollar. We talked about that before. I don't really love to look at this chart as much as, where are alts in the grand scheme of things. Right now, they're down, right? Just everything is showing alts just being down. And that's the time when we got to think about stepping in and just taking little nibbles and buying, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to find the higher quality ones. But it is tough regulatory space right now, with Bittrex and Poloniex closing some markets to U.S. customers, Binance closing to U.S. customers. So I'm going to refocus my efforts probably with Coinbase, and if I really can't find a place to trade a coin that I have to liquidate or just put on another exchange that will allow me to do it. I actually opened up some exchanges from I don't know where before, just to liquidate some of my coins and at least get something back for them when they were delisted off of Bittrex. So, going into this next cycle, that's going to be one of my major focuses, try to get coins that are less likely to be delisted, but still have a massive upside. So, that's my update for the altcoin market. Not great. It's just to sum up, it is maybe we're putting in a bottom here, but there's no real indication that is happening right now. Bitcoin just still looks like it's in control, and until we see Bitcoin breaking down, there's no reason to think that that altcoins are really going to perform that well, and that's just my opinion. Altcoins in terms of US dollars, you're going to have to look at them individually to see which ones have broken out and which ones haven't. I'm not going to chase any of them right now. The altcoins in terms of US dollars tend to follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin breaks down hard, they'll tend to follow, and then I can buy on some pullbacks there. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the altcoin market right now. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.